Allah's Messenger, ﷺ, meaning the Habib. And he had a son, which is Osama, who's narrating this hadith. And he too was a Habib, beloved to Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Sheikh mentions the story again as occurs in the hadith. And the first time round, Allah's Messenger, ﷺ, he sent this beautiful statement, which is a statement of consolation and strengthening. Right? This is the purpose in giving these condolences, that the ta'ziyah, right? It is condolence and strengthening of that person. Why? To encourage them to have sabr. That's the purpose, right? Behind the ta'ziyah, right? The azar. Now, what do we see in this beautiful statement? Inna lillahi ma akhadh wa lahu ma a'ata wa kulla shay'in indahu bi ajalin musamma faltasbir wal tahtasib. As we said, if you reflect carefully on many of the adhkar and many statements which we are, recommended to say in certain situations, you will see how suitable they are to the situation. In this case, what do we see? We see here tawheed, in the sense that Allah's mulk, Allah's dominion, Allah's ownership of everything, that to Him belongs everything. And likewise, the issue of al-qadr. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَهُ بِأَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى, that everything with Him is at an appointed time. So here we have Tawheed and Al-Qadr. And like I said at the beginning, that the more that a person is grounded and rooted in Tawheed, Allah's Rububiyyah, Allah's Asma and Sifat, and the more a person is grounded in Al-Qadr, Al-Qadr, the affairs of Al-Qadr, then a person is better able to handle these affairs. And that's why in this specific instance of where there is a loss of life, then how is a person giving condolence? We shall come shortly that the very purpose of condolence is tasliya, and it is to give condolences, and to console a person, and also to encourage a person to have sabr, right? So the Shaykh goes on, rahimahullah, to actually explain each part of this statement that the Messenger of Allah initially sent to well, it wasn't Fatima, it was unnamed, it was one of his daughters. So he said, the Shaykh says, وَقَال فَلْتَصْبِرْ, so he mentioned this part first, فَلْتَصْبِرْ, meaning, when you say have sabr, what does that mean? When you say to someone have sabr, what does it mean? It means that restrain your soul, restrain yourself, restrain your tongue, restrain your heart, restrain your limbs, your limbs from at-tasakhut, right? Being angry, being resentful against the decree. Restrain, right? This is the meaning of sabr. Wa tatahammal al-musibah, and that you bear the affliction, bear the calamity, let it pass through. Well, tahtasib, and likewise anticipate the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh says many people, they have sabr, they will force themselves to restrain any type of anger or resentment, or they will restrain, but they don't combine that with expectation of reward from Allah. It is just like raw sabr, but it should be coupled with al-ihtisab, that you are anticipating and expecting reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because in that otherwise فيفوته بذلك خير كثير, otherwise you lose a great deal of good. So you must combine الصبر, إذا صبر واحتسب الأجر على الله, when you are patient and you anticipate the reward from Allah, then this is greater. Then he said, إِنَّ لِلَّهِ مَا أَخَذْ وَلَهُ مَا أَعْطَى. The Shaykh says, هذه الجملة عظيمة. إذا كان الشيء كله لله إن أخذ منك شيئا فهو ملكه وإن أعطاك شيئا فهو ملكه فكيف تسخط إذا أخذ منك ما يملكه هو. A very amazing point, which is simple and amazing point, that here when we say to the person to whom there is a deceased in the family, to Allah belongs what he took, and to Allah belongs what He gave. So if everything belongs to Allah, and if He took something from you, well, it is His possession, it's His ownership. And if He gave you something, it is His possession, it's His ownership. So how can you become angry at something if it is taken from you when He is the one who is its owner and possessor in truth? It doesn't really make any sense. And if Allah took something from you which is beloved to you, then you should say, هذا لله. هذا لله. It was Allah's to begin with. له أن يأخذ ما شاء. To Allah is for Him to take whatever He wishes. وله أن يعطي ما يشاء. And to Allah is to give whatever He wants. So if you have this way of thinking as indicated in this statement, which in this hadith it is in the context of taking of a life from you, but the principle is general in everything. If Allah takes something from you, it could be Allah takes a finger from you. Well, that belongs to Allah. This is not yours to begin with. This is Allah's creation. And He gave you that finger from His bounty and mercy, from His bounty and from His. He gave you that finger. He could take a hand from you. Well, that is Allah's hand. That's what He created. The you know the, the materials and the everything, the blood and the way and everything, the way that's His. That's His creation. It's not yours. But He gave it to you for a period in your life which you benefited from. Now it's gone. Well, it belongs to Allah. It wasn't yours to begin with in the first place. It belongs to Allah. Right? So if you think like this with everything, whether it is likewise like family, it's your son, it's your daughter, but this is from this is Allah. Allah is the Malik. This is Allah's property. But He gave it to you from mercy as a bounty, and you enjoyed that property for a while. You had the pleasure of a child, and whatever. Allah's taken the child. Well, that belonged to Allah in the first place. It wasn't yours to begin with, right? And so whether it's something that like someone from your family, whether it is something that is physically, Allah took away, your a limb or something, or it could be wealth. Allah took wealth from you. Well, it wasn't yours to begin with. Allah took it back or gave it to somebody else or made it perish because Allah, this is all from Allah. It doesn't belong to you in the first place. So if you start thinking like this, that nothing belongs to me in the first place, then this is why you see certain people who have absolute certainty in the decree of Allah, like you see videos and pictures of people, a man in Palestine, and he comes back to his house, the whole house is in rubble, ruins, and beneath is his family, and he says that it belongs to Allah. Allah took it from me. What am I going to do? Right? You see that sabr. Where is this coming from? This is coming from these foundations. That everything belongs to Allah. This is from Tawheed, from the affairs of Tawheed, Allah's rububiyyah, from which is mulk. So Allah creates, that's His khalq. Then therefore it means it's His mulk. It is mulk. It is ownership, which therefore means it's His tadbir as well. This follows naturally. If you create, then you are the owner. If you are the owner, then you are the mudabbir. Meaning that you deal and you manage and regulate the affairs as you see, with wisdom, of course. And so it follows, therefore, as we said, that everything. So when you think like this, it all belongs to Allah. As the Shaykh goes on to say, وَلِهَذَا يَصُنُّ لِلْإِنسان إِنْ أُصِيبَ بِمُصِيبَةٍ أَنْ يَقُولْ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. This is similar in meaning, this ayah that we see, that those who, when إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ, when they are afflicted with a calamity, what do they say? They say, إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. To Allah we belong, and to Allah shall we return. This is what we say when there is a calamity. Why? Because نحن ملك لله يفعل بنا ما يشاء. We are owned by Allah. We are Allah's property. We are His dominion. And likewise, what we love and is taken away from us, from our hands, and what Allah gives, until even what Allah gives to us, we don't own it. You don't own it. This is why one of the proofs to show that we do not truly own what Allah gives to us is that there are laws that govern how we dispose of or use those things, right? So, which means that we do not have full disposal, right? So, for example, if there is wealth that we have, then that wealth, how we use it, how we give it, is restricted. We can't do certain things with it, right? Which is a proof that this is not our mal. This mal, it belongs to Allah. That we have to give zakah out of it. That we are not allowed to use it in sin and disobedience. That we're not allowed to give it to a foolish person who's going to squander it, right? There's all rules that govern the use of that wealth. So that means that it can't be our wealth then. If it is governed by these laws, then it can't be our wealth. فلو أراد الإنسان أن يتصرف في ماله تصرفا مطلقا على وجه لم يأذن به الشرع قلنا له أمسك لا يمكن. Right? So if a person wanted to spread his or use his wealth in any which way he wanted, we would say hold back. You can't, because these are ways that the Sharia has not allowed. And the proof وآتوهم من مال الله الذي آتاكم. This ayah in the Quran. Give to them from Allah's from the mal of Allah, from that which Allah owns, the wealth and the property, that which He has given to you. So al-malu malullah. Right? Wealth, it belongs to Allah. فلا تتصرف فيه إلا على الوجه الذي أذن لك فيه. This wealth belongs to Allah, so do not use it except in the way that you have been given permission to do so. ولهذا قال لله ما أخذ وله ما أعطى. This is why he said to Allah, it belongs to Allah what he took, and to him is what he gives. Whatever he took belongs to Allah, and whatever he gives belongs to him. So if Allah took that, then how can you despair? فكيف نجزع? How can we despair? كيف نتسخط? How can we become angry that Allah should take, the owner should take what belongs to him? هذا خلاف المعقول وخلاف المنقول. This opposes sound intellect. It opposes, what has come in revelation, right? It's like if for example, if you imagine there's a pauper and a beggar on the street, right? Torn, rugged clothes, starving, and all of, there's a king who, from his generosity, says, okay, here you are. Here's a mansion. Stay in there. There's foods, there's this, that, whatever. So he goes in the mansion, and the king says, okay, 2 months have gone now. Please, you have to leave now. Now he's got no right to become angry, because this was just a fadl and a bounty that the king showed, which he didn't have to. He didn't have to, right? Now you can't complain, turn around, this evil, this whatever, and I have the right to this. Well, you can't say that. It doesn't belong to you in the first place. You would have been in that same poverty and starvation for the 2 months, whatever. But he gave it to you from his bounty, right? Is it rush? Is it? Can anyone rationally? It's غير معقول. It's just not rational for this man to say, to become angry and, why have you stopped this and this? I deserve this, and this belongs to me and it's my right. No, it's not. Just be grateful and be thankful for 2 months. You had a shelter, you ate well, you this, you that, whatever. When it's taken from you, think, may Allah reward, may Allah reward that king for his bounty. This is how you should be thinking. It wasn't yours to begin with. This is not your mansion to begin with. Why should you feel that somehow now you have a right to? No. So in the same way, whether it is someone in your family who's taken from you, you lose a limb, you lose wealth, you lose this, even to the degree, to be honest with you, if someone has a status and a position and is taken from you, right? You say, well, that belonged to Allah. Says, no. Right? So this applies to everything, to Allah. Lillahi ma akhadh wa lahu ma a'ta. So then he said, وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَهُ بِأَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. This is now al-qadr. Everything with him, everything to him, or everything with him is for an appointed time. So everything is with a miqdar, right? It has an extent. There's an extent. That extent can be in terms of time. It can be it can be in terms of quantity. It can be, everything has a measure. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَهُ بِمِقْدَارٍ. Surah Al-Ra'd. An ayah in the Quran, وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَهُ بِمِقْدَارٍ. Everything with him is by measure, meaning at an appointed time. بمقدار في زمانه ومكانه وذاته وصفاته. Right? In its time, in its place, in its essence, in its attributes, in everything to do with it, it is by measure. And everything is from Allah in this manner. بأجل مسمى, meaning muayyan, meaning specified. So if you are now, if you believe this thing, what Allah's Messenger said, and in these two sentences, uh, to Allah belongs what He took, and to Him is what He gives, and everything is with an appointed time, and you have absolute certainty in that, then that means a person, this last sentence means that it is impossible for any man to change what Allah decreed, right? um, Everything with Allah is at an appointed time. It means you can't change it. You can do nothing. You can't do any taqdeem. You can't do any ta'khir. You can't advance it. You can't delay it. لكل أمة أجل. Every nation has its appointed time. إذا جاء إذا جاء أجلهم فلا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون. To every nation is an appointed time. إذا جاء أجلهم, when their appointed time comes, then they will not be able to delay it for an hour, nor will they be able to hasten it. So when a thing is muqaddar, when it is decreed, then there's no taqdeem, there's no ta'khir. Now, and this is the key point now. If that is the case, then فلا فائدة من الجزع والتسخط. Right? لأنه وإن جزعت أو تسخطت لن تغير شيئا من المقدور. So, meaning that this now makes it pointless. If you are now convinced of what's in these sentences, everything belongs to Allah, what He gives, what He takes, everything is by an appointed time. This is Tawheed and Al Qadr. Then, what is the point then in becoming, in despairing, and becoming angry and resentful, and uh, is that going to change anything? No. There's no point behind doing any of that. So it's pointless expressing these things. Have sabr, hold back. And the more that you have conviction in these affairs, then the easier it is for you to deal with the actual hardship or calamity or loss or whatever it might be. So then he goes on to say, what we'll do, inshallah, um, we'll go through the next part of this page and we'll stop there, inshallah. So then he goes that the Messenger of Allah, he conveyed this to his daughter, what he ordered to be conveyed. However, she then sent back and requested that he be present. So he went, alayhi salam, with a group of the companions. They went. The child was raised up to him, and he could see that the child was obviously gasping and about to die. And فبكى الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم ودمعت عيناه. So he cried, and Sa'd ibn Ubadah, whoever was with him, and the Sa'd is the chief of the tribe of the Khazraj, right? So these are prominent people who are with him. They are not, Mu'adh bin Jabal, from the those who have knowledge, and others. So they came, and he said, "Ma hada, ma hada, ya Rasulullah. What is this?" He thought that the Messenger of Allah was crying out of, jazi'an, that he is somehow despairing. So the Prophet ﷺ said, هذه رحمة, meaning أي بكيت رحمة بالصبي لا جزئا بالمقدور. Right? So this now is an important distinction between that when you cry, you might shed tears, but it is out of mercy and pity for that person. But it is not out of despair and grief and anger and resentment, out of the maqdur, the thing being decreed. Right? It's not out of that. And so that's an important distinction that a person has to be clear in his own self. Like, why are you crying? Are you crying because are you lamenting because this person is now gone, and he was a breadwinner for the family. What are now they going to do? And I'm crying because no. Or is it because poor man, you feel pity for him and you have mercy towards him, and for the hardship that he went through, and you're crying for that so that distinction is quite important. And so the companion thought that this was like despair or something. So the messenger of Islam, he clarified, he said, وَإِنَّمَا يَرْحَمُ اللَّهِ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الرُّحَمَا, that indeed Allah shows mercy to to those from his servants who are the merciful. And this is ففي هذا دليل على جواز البكاء رحمة بالمصاب. This shows the permissibility of crying as long as it is for out of mercy for, for the one who is afflicted. So he says إذا رأيت مصابا في عقله أو بدنه فبكيت رحمة به. So when you see someone who is afflicted in his aql, in his intellect or his body, and you cry out of mercy for that person, so you cry out of mercy for that person, then this is evidence that Allah has put in your heart mercy. This shows there is compassion. Your heart is not hardened. It is not, does not, it is soft. And when a person does this out of mercy, then he is from the ruhama. He's from those servants of Allah in whom Allah has put mercy, such that they cry, their hearts are soft, and they are brought to tears by these types of affairs, showing that there is genuine, compassion, mercy in their hearts. And when that happens, then they are the ones whom Allah Azza wa Jal shows mercy to. And from the evidences from this hadith, and we'll finish with this point, في هذا الحديث دليل على وجوب الصبر لأن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فلتصبر ولتحتسب. Right, so this is the evidence that the sabr is what is obligatory, right? فلتصبر ولتحتسب, because it is a command, then it is taken as an obligation. So the Sheikh said this